Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from not the Commander Score studio once again. Don't worry, I will be back to the studio in the near future, but for now, please excuse the slightly off audio, and yeah, if I just sound a bit different, you know what? It's okay. You know, I'm still talking about the Golden Pig Awards of Duskmourn. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about Number 10. At number 10, we've got Marina Vendrell. Now, Marina Vendrell is a 3/5 human warlock for 5 mana, every single color. Okay, yeah, if you've been watching this channel for a little while, you might know that I kind of have an obsession with 5 colors. So, Marina Vendrell, if it wasn't a completely terrible commander, was probably going to make this list regardless. Anyways, when it enters, reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Put all enchantment cards from among them into your hand, the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. Tap unlock or unlock a door of target room you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Here's the thing. I am kind of just completely ignoring that last part. When it comes to my favorite commanders from this set, this one's 5 color. You can build it Enchantress and do a really good job with it. I mean, you can, again, use and abuse that ETB to get a lot of value off the top of your library. It's kind of like, what is it, one of the Niv Mizzets that gets you like the, 2 color cards off the top of the library, essentially. It's kind of like that, but very specific to enchantments. So again, if you're building like a ton of enchantments, just, yeah, you can get a lot of value off the top of your library. Have this, ETB, blink it again and again and again. Utilize enchantments that care about creatures coming into play or enchantments coming into play more so, and have, constellation effects, eerie effects, and just mass blink effects all just melded together in this beautiful deck. Yeah, you can do a lot of cool things with this one. And of course, yes, there are some really good rooms out there. Use this commander to unlock or lock doors essentially for them. So yes, you can utilize that too, but again, the focus I would have is just 5 color Enchantress. Amazing kind of commander. Yeah, so congratulations, Marina Vendrell. I mean, again, we all knew you'd be on the list most likely because you are 5 color. You got 10th place. Moving on to number 9. My 9th favorite commander from this set is Kona Rescue Beastie, a 4/3 beast survivor for 4 mana in green. Survival at the beginning of your second main phase. If Kona Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. I like the simplicity of this commander. I like the straightforward nature of this commander. Basically, I mean, you just say, you know what am I doing with this commander? I'm just going to have it tap. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to tap this commander, and therefore, on my second main phase, I am going to cheat something giant into play. Yeah, that is basically what you are going to be doing this one. So yes, I mean, you can, of course, you're in green, right? You can be aggressive. You can, pump this power and attack. I mean, I guess more so pump the toughness is what you really care about so that it survives in combat. But of course, I would make sure I have some more sneaky ways to have it tapped. You could go vehicles if you want. You can go with, cards like Springleaf Drum to tap it essentially, which is probably the direction I would go. Some other kinds of ways, like there's some lands that you can utilize to tap it as well, simply to just have that land tap for a green mana instead of a colorless. So yes, you can have plenty of different ways to tap this to make sure that it survives essentially, and protect it, please protect it essentially until the next turn, until the next upkeep. And then once that happens again, cheat out something gigantic. Again, even in budget, you've got some majestic, amazing, giant, well, Eldrazi, but also like Sandworm Convergence, really cool giant things to cheat into play. You can do some really cool things with this one. It's so simple, and the art is so cute. Kona Rescue Beastie, congratulations on 9th place. Moving on to my 8th favorite commander from this set. Again, these, I will remind you, this is my favorites, not necessarily the most powerful ones. If you want to see that episode, make sure you check out the other episode where I talk about the tiers list. But Valgavoth. I always say this wrong. Terror Eater. I think I put another V in there. It's like Valgavoth. No, it's Valgavoth. There we go. Terror Eater, a 9/9 Elder Demon with flying and lifelink for 9 mana in black. Ward sacrifice 3 non-land permanents, so that's actually a pretty hefty ward cost right there. If a card you didn't control, you put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. During your turn, you may play cards, exile with Valgavoth. If you cast a spell this way, pay life field its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. So this is kind of, okay, Turgid players out there, please close your ears real quick. A more fair version of Turgid. I mean, anything is a much more fair version of Turgid. But basically, this is, hey, you know what? Get your opponents to get cards to be put into their graveyards from, again, here, there, or anywhere, whether that's from their hand, yes, discard, sacrifice with edict effects in play, or, you know, just wrath spells. Or, you know what? Let's just actually mill our opponents to get things. And then we can actually play those cards, but there's actually a cost to it with our life. That being said, again, that brings in the interesting aspect of, okay, what things am I going to get? What things can I actually play? Are there ways for me to actually gain life? Yeah, I mean, my commander's a 9/9 with flying and lifelink, absolutely. But of course, I can have my own cards to gain life. Or do I actually care about going down into the depths of life totals, getting down as low as I can, and then all of a sudden, yeah, let's use like Soul Conduit to life swap, okay? I'm going to give you my life at 1, and I will take your 40 life, please. Thank you. So yes, you can build this in a lot of cool different directions. It also, again, is a commander that does have a high price tag on it. Finally, I mean, 9 mana. It's like, okay, you know what? This commander does a lot of cool things. It's a massive threat. Again, it's a 9/9 with flying and lifelink. It is easily a 3-shot KO. Could very easily become a 2-shot KO, maybe even a 1-shot KO with like a Fire Shrieker, double strike. But yeah, it actually costs a good amount of mana. So Wizards, thank you. Thank you for actually appropriately, you know, valuing a card versus, hey, yeah, let's just put this giant creature in play. It costs 5. No, 9. Okay, you know what? Let's take some effort to actually get it out, and then let's have a great time using and abusing our opponent's cards to make sure that they lose the game and we take the crown. So yeah, Valgavoth. I'm sorry for always mispronouncing your name, but you're my 8th favorite commander. Next up, moving on to number 7, we've got Niko, Light of Hope, a 3/4 human wizard for 4 mana in Azorius. When it enters, create 2 shard tokens, pay 2 tap, exile target non-ledger creature you control. Shards you control become copies of it until the beginning of the next end step. Return to the battlefield under source control at the beginning of the next end step. This is a very interesting commander because it's kind of like, in my mind, like Brutaclad adjacent. Like, you can do some really cool things with this one. Again, when it enters, you make those shard tokens. You are in the 2 best colors for blink spells. You can blink this here, there, and everywhere, every single turn if you want to, once you're set up properly, and all of a sudden, you've got a glut of shard tokens in play. So all of a sudden, you just got all these shard tokens, and yeah, you can activate that ability and be able to just say, you know what, I've got this other non-legendary creature that's amazing. Let's just have you go away temporarily, just a little vacation, okay? And then all my shards become copies of that until the beginning of the next end step. And yeah, I'm probably going to have creatures that have really cool, well, most likely, you know, triggers that are great on their own. But when you have, you know, 8, 10, whatever many copies of them, they are game-changing, game-ending plays. And then, of course, that creature comes back and is like, what happened? Oh my gosh, you took out 2 players? Where does that 1 left? What's going on? So, of course, you can use and abuse ETBs. You can use and abuse triggers. You can get a lot of really cool cards into play and utilize them in a way that you usually can't in Commander. Again, typically, it's a singleton format, right? You can't just get 10 sharding sphinxes back out into play and say, you know what, let's swing and see what happens. So you can do a lot of really cool things with this commander. It is a really cool design. Yeah, Niko, Light of Hope. Congratulations on your 7th place finish. Moving on to 6th place, we've got Kianne, Corrupted Memory. Now, I am a sucker for very clever designs, and there are definitely times when Wizards tries to be clever, in my opinion. It doesn't quite get there, but this one is definitely, in my opinion, clever and got there and then some. A 2/2 illusion for 4 mana in Simic. And I'm always, you know, again, hesitant with Simic commanders because Wizards in the past has just been like, okay, the people want lands and draw. All right, let's do lands and draw. We're so clever. No. Finally giving us different kinds of Simic commanders, finally. As long as Kianne's power is even, you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. As long as its power is odd, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Whenever you draw a card, get a counter on it. This is a really cool design because, like, okay, we want Vidalcan and Ori in the command zone, but we want there to be a unique twist on it, and this is a really cool twist. Again, not only do you have to keep track of, like, okay, like, is it even or odd? What can I cast at flash speed? But your opponents are going to have to be wary of it as well. Be like, okay, like, they can flash in something, but is it going to be non-creature or creature? You have to worry about a board wipe or a blocker or, you know, an ETB or a removal spell that, I mean, I guess usually removal spells are instant speed, but, you know, another wrath, but, or an enchantment for whatever reason. So yeah, you can do some really cool things with this one. And again, the adjustment is on the card as well. Whenever you draw a card, you get a counter on it. That is permanent extra power, which is amazing. And of course, there are some really cool things that you can do this in combat. I mean, this turns like draw spells into combat tricks. This turns wheels into game-ending plays. Again, you draw a certain amount of cards, you windfall or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, okay, I just drew 20 cards in the turn. You didn't block my commander, right? Because it was just a 2/2 and I attacked. And yeah, you're gone. You're gone. So you've got ways to just adjust the power and toughness on the fly. I mean, the toughness doesn't matter, but the power does. I guess the toughness matters for combat. But yeah, when it comes to adjusting things on the fly, of course, there's other cards like Ursipine or whatever where you can actually just pay 1 mana just to adjust that power. So you can switch it, you can flip-flop it, you can make it so that you can adjust and be able to cast what you want to cast when you want to cast it. It's a very unique commander. It's one that, again, embodies one of the big cards in Commander that players have been playing with for a long time. Like, that is kind of not format defining, but a card that's very good in Commander, but not as good as other formats like Vidal Ori. And it says, you know what? Let's put a unique twist on it. I like when Wizards does that. I like when Wizards make Simic commanders that aren't just, you know, copy, paste, Tatiova. Thank you, Wizards. Kianne Corrupted Memory. You are 6th place. Next up, let's move on to 5th place with Rendmaw Creaking Nest. This is so cool. Okay, first of all, this is just very flavorful. A Scarecrow commander with birds. A 5/5 Ledger Artifact Creature Scarecrow for 5 mana in Golgari Menace Reach. When it enters and whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, each player creates a tap 2/2 Blackbird creature token with flying. The tokens are goaded for the rest of the game, which again means that they're going to attack each combat, attack a player other than you if able. So this is kind of like Chaos Incarnate in a way. Like, okay, you know what? We're not like, you know, chaosing off the top of libraries or whatnot, but we're chaosing in that, hey, everyone gets birds and you got to attack each other. Most likely not me. And so essentially all you need to do is, well, blink this. Now, unfortunately, you are in Golgari. You're not in Azorius. You don't have a lot of blink spells, right? You got like Voyager's Staff and Conjurer's Closet, which is good. But you know what? We need more ways to use and abuse that ETB. And of course, we do have other ways, like, you know, well, Feign Death type effects. Feign Death type effects are amazing. It's like, hey, when this creature's going to die, it comes right back into play. So utilize those types of effects. Utilize sacrifice outlets as well. You can do some aristocrat style things too, right? Because you're making birds as well. So yeah, you can sacrifice. You can aristocrat style. You can blood artist people out if you really want to do that. Again, people are going to be swinging here, there, and everywhere. Life totals are going to be going down. But of course, you also have the option again of, hey, whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, yeah, that includes quite a few things out there, like, you know, artifact creatures. And artifact creatures are incredibly easy to use and abuse because there's ways to reduce the cost of artifacts and also reduce the cost of creatures. So you can make those artifact creatures cost essentially nothing. You play them, you get a lot of birds into play, and then all of a sudden, well, maybe you sacrifice those things too. And then you maybe bring all those things back to your hand. Then you replay them again. And all of a sudden, there's an army of birds. Everyone has an army of birds. Every single player has got an army of birds. And then all of a sudden, they're swinging at each other. They're taking each other out. The Scarecrow's saying, what is going on? Every bird is attacking, but not me, because I'm keeping them away from you. Again, flavor, function. It is really well done. Congratulations, Wizards. A great design. Rendmaw Creaking Nest, 5th place. Okay, next up, let's move on to number 4 with the Lord of Pain. I don't know how this one talks, but the Lord of Pain. 5/5 human assassin with menace. Your opponents can't gain life. This costs 5 mana in Rakdos. Okay, first of all, anytime you got a commander, it's like, hey, you know what? Opponents, life gain's not for you. Let's just shut that down right now. Your mind immediately goes to, let's group slug. And this commander is all about the group slug. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another target player. The Lord of Pain deals damage equal that spell's mana value to the chosen player. Now, here's the thing. This thing is going to take players out so quickly. Again, your opponents can't gain life. You can. But also, hey, every single time players are casting spells, again, here, there, and everywhere. Again, when anyone casts their first spell each turn, you're like, hey, you know what? You did a good job casting that spell. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Now, Billy Bob over there is just sitting there, didn't cast that spell, and Billy Bob is going to be taking how much mana value is that spell? 3? Okay, 3 damage to the face. Lightning bolt. Thank you. Oh, wait, no, I've got this damage doubler in play. That's 6 damage. Oh, wait, and I also have, Loxodon and Warhammer on the Lord of Pain, so it has a life link as well, so I guess I gain 6 life. You lose 6 life, and wow, this is fun for me. Oh, wait, you just cast an instant, other player over there. You cast an instant on this turn? Cool, all right, that's some other damage too. Well, the player that I just first mentioned in this, yeah, so you know what? We're just going to dish out all this damage and just destroy everyone else but myself. Again, until the end of the game, which there is a little catch to this commander, which is quite fun. Although, again, you can just literally negate it by having lifelink on your commander, where when the opposing player, again, if it's a one-on-one situation at the end of the game, casts a spell, you're going to be dealing damage to yourself with Lord of the Pain, which is quite funny and quite hilarious, and I love that design. But again, you can negate that with lifelink. Now, you also can go crazy with this commander and maybe give it something like Infect, yeah, with Grafted Exoskeleton or something like that, and all of a sudden, this can be a one-shot KO commander with the right cards played. So you can essentially just demolish your opponents quite quickly, quite easily, quite efficiently. Again, damage doublers, damage triplers, Infect, lifelink can gain you so many beautiful things. You can do a lot of cool things with this commander. It is so spicy. And of course, your opponents are just going to be dreading their life totals going down. They can't gain any life. They can't get out of this. And all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm doing pretty good at 100 life over here. How about you guys? No? Okay. 4th place, Lord of Pain. Next up, the top 3. At 3rd place, we've got Aminatou Veil Piercer, a really cool design. A 2/4 human wizard for 4 mana in Esper. At the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil 2. That's some nice additional card selection for us. That's quite nice. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. That's really cool. You may cast a card for its Miracle cost when you draw, if it's the first card you drew this turn. This is something that, newer players might not realize, but Miracle is good not just for, well, the cost reduction, but also for breaking timing restrictions. Again, it says you may cast when you draw it. It does not say, like, only on your turn, or like sorcery speed, or like, whatever. You basically, again, let's say you draw an enchantment on your opponent's turn. Maybe you set up your deck to be able to draw enchantments on your opponent's turns. Maybe you have a card like Precognitive Perception or whatever. You can look at the top of your library and you know that that card is an enchantment. Cool. I'll tap my Merfolk Looter, essentially, draw that card, and oh my goodness, look, it's an enchantment. Oh my gosh. Wow, who knew that was there? And then all of a sudden that costs 4 less. And then you're casting like 6 mana enchantments for just 2 mana on your opponent's turns, basically at flash speed. So all of a sudden you're getting extra value every single turn. Again, 4 cost reduction, basically each tripper on the table if you're set up properly. 4 cost reduction for every single turn. That's 16 mana you're saving with each tripper on the table potentially. You're breaking timing restrictions. You're doing some very powerful things. Again, you can get Omniscience out for just 6 mana. You can get Overwhelming Splendor out at the drop of a hat. You can get these giant cards like Martyr's Bond out for just 2 mana, and you can dominate the game with an Enchantress deck like no other Enchantress deck because you are getting things out, again, at instant speed, essentially, or at least on your opponent's turns, I should say. I mean, it is basically instant speed. If you have like cards like Merfolk Looter, you're like, okay, I tap my Merfolk Looter to draw that card, and all of a sudden, I am able to play it right then and there. Yeah. You can do some crazy things with this one. Again, break cost reduction, break timing restrictions, Enchantress your opponents to doom. Aminatou Veil Piercer, you're a fantastic card. 3rd place. Next up, moving on to number 2, we've got the Mindskinner. This is spice among spice. This is just so cool. When Morrow, did the little teaser thing when saying like, hey, we got a 10-1 coming for 3 mana, I was like, all right, gotta have a massive downside in this one. I did not expect this to be, you know what? No. This is on a commander, and it is all spice. A 10-1 legendary enchantment creature Nightmare for 3 mana in blue can't be blocked. Okay, if we just stop there, that would already be really cool. But you know what? I like the twist. The twist is great. I mean, this would be pretty disgusting if this was a 10-1 unblockable for 3 mana. But you are in blue, so I guess you don't have a lot of ways to like double up power, but still. Anyways, if a sorcerer control deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, each opponent mills that many cards. So, This commander says, you know what? I'm not about, the life game. Life game. Being able to just take players out, with damage. Nah, that's not what I want. I want to mill opponents out. And guess what? Again, it doesn't matter who I'm damaging. I mill everyone. It gets past the problem of mill in commander in that aspect where you're saying, you know what? I'm not just milling you, person I'm swinging at. I'm milling all 3 of you. All of you are milling 10 cards. That's 30 cards per swing with this. And of course, if I've got, Fire Shrieker or whatever, doubling up that damage essentially, that's 20 cards per swing. If I've got other ways to pump the power, great. If I've got ways to essentially damage you throughout the game with other cards, great. If I just have other mill effects, where I take out half your library, great. All of a sudden, I could set myself up to take you out. Again, is mill the most powerful thing in commander? In my opinion, no, it is not. But I love when a commander leans into it and says, you know what? I understand that milling is tough in commander. I understand that in standard, you've got one opponent with 60 cards in total. So you're milling like 50 cards and you win because, drawing and stuff like that. And then in commander, you've got 100 cards each. You've got 3 opponents. That's 300 cards in total. You're probably milling, again, 270 or a little bit less than that too, or whatever. You're milling less than that, but still a lot of cards. So much more than in standard that you need to mill. But you know what? We designed a commander because of that, with that in mind, to actually say, let's make something reasonable. In a 10-1 for 3 mana that can't be blocked is incredibly reasonable when you say, you know what? We're turning that into mill, again, for each opponent. It takes out that problematic piece in commander that, again, you have 3 opponents, so many cards to mill. This is such a cool design. Well done, Wizards. Second place. But moving on to first place, the Golden Pig of Duskmourn, we've got Arabella Abandoned Doll. Now, first up, I just want to say, Wizards, thank you for making an uncommon commander with an uncommon effect that isn't complete garbage. Wizards, actually, when things started off with uncommon commanders in a little while ago, 3-4 years ago, they did a great job. Again, we got some really heavy hitters. I mean, we also got Tatiova, which is crazy, but we got some really cool ones where it's a unique design. It's not just a throwaway, yeah, this one just does something that another commander does, but much worse. Yeah. And throughout the years, we've been getting, in my opinion, for the most part, worse and worse uncommon designs. But it seems like we are going back on the upswing with uncommon commanders because Wizards actually is limiting the number of commanders that they're making in each set, except for, Universes Beyond things. But yeah, they're at least making less commanders in each set. So when they do so, they're not just I've got to phone it in for this one because, I'm running out of thoughts. So, Arabella Abandoned Doll is a really cool design. A 1/3 Ledger Artifact Creature toy for 2 mana and Boros. When it attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life for X the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. I love when we get a simple, very straightforward, uncommon commander, like my Mr. Orfeo deck. I love Mr. Orfeo. It's an uncommon commander. It's one of my favorite ones of all time. It's so simple, but it is so cool. Being able to utilize this tiny doll to terrify the table, yes, please. Again, like the mindskinner, it says, you know what? Okay, what's one of the problems in Commander? One of the problems is I've got 3 opponents. How do I solve that? I say, you know what? Hey, this tiny doll, when it attacks, I'm dealing damage to each opponent. But it is damage that is dependent. I like that we have dependent damage. The number of creatures controlled power 2 or less. You got to get a bunch of creatures in play that are super tiny, and all of a sudden you get a giant benefit out of sending this tiny little doll into danger. And yes, you need to send it into danger. Of course, you've got ways to protect it. You've got ways to get it through. You're just going to be attacking with this terrifying little doll, and your opponents are going to be shaking in their boots, being like, oh no, there's going to be so much damage. How many creatures is that? That's 10. Oh no. And you're like, but wait, I've got a damage doubler. Yay. Oh wait, I've got, a lifelink card on this too. So I'm gaining 3 times as much life as that, essentially. And also, you know what? I've got ways to just demolish you all. I can instant speed cast, securely waste before my turn. All of a sudden, I've got twice as many creatures as you thought I had. You can do some really crazy things with this one. And again, Wizards, thank you. Please keep it this way, where we have actually interesting, uncommon commanders, not just ones that are complete garbage that do nothing in Commander, or ones that are literally just copy-paste better Commander. but worse ability. That costs more too. Yeah, Wizards, thank you for finally, it seems, hopefully turning the corner on uncommon commanders again, making them good, not making them trash. There's no reason to make them if you're going to make them trash, okay? Thank you, Wizards. Arabella, Abandoned Doll. You are a fantastically designed card. You can do some really cool things with you. You're simple, straight to the point, and a terrifying tiny doll. Can I keep saying that? Congratulations on winning the Golden Pig Award of Duskmourn. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.